What's up, everybody? Welcome back to World's Finest. As always, we're your hosts, Lee and L.T. What's up, my friend?
What up, brother? Man, I've been waiting for the show. This episode.
This is a fantastic episode. Yes, you and I both, man. We've been waiting, for almost close to 2 years to be able to finally dissect and discuss the Batman. That's right, guys. We are talking about the Batman. It is finally here. It has come out. I've seen it twice.
Oh,
I've seen it twice. And yeah, dude, we'll just jump into it, guys. We're 2 years into Batman defending Gotham. It's Gotham as always as it is. It's been ravaged. There's an epidemic going on with the street drug called drops. The city's in disorder. I guess something's going on. The Riddler comes out, and there's something going on with the government's top officials. They're being taken out. They're being murdered by the Riddler, and starts on Halloween night, and that's where we find ourselves right as the movie begins. LT, what did you think, my friend?
Man, right off the bat, I mean, pun intended, the first scenes and when you first see Batman, I mean, you can tell that this movie is nothing like we've seen before in style, in what do you call it, color, in action. It's just a beautiful film right off the bat. And I mean, I don't even know where to start, man. I absolutely love this damn movie. Holy crap. Any doubt that anyone ever had in Pattinson, being Batman should have just been, quashed. This was an excellent, from minute one to minute last. It was awesome. I mean, I don't know. We should just talk about it in chunks as far as because it was like 3 hours of just heaven. I mean, it was a Batman movie we have never seen before. I mean, going back to 89 Batman, all the way to Ben Affleck's Batman, we have never seen a movie like this as far as Batman.
Yeah, to your point, guys, if you're watching this and you probably already seen the movie, you know what the premise is. Like I said, I kind of etched it out there, but this is focusing on the detective side of things, the world's greatest detective. And he's not quite there yet, but he is. You know what I mean? He's on his way. I would say a Batman that we all know and love was probably 5 years into his career. Yeah, and so this guy's still early. You know what I mean? 2 years into it. Getting there though. I think you touched on Robert Pattinson. It is his portrayal. He actually is playing Batman, Bruce Wayne, and I must say he's playing Batman the majority of the time, which is another part of the movie that I really did like. A lot of it we get in the other movies. We've gotten a lot of Bruce Wayne, a lot of scenes with Bruce Wayne and him doing things like that. This one, he was, I would say, Batman 90%, 95% of the
At
film.
least.
There's maybe 4 or 5 scenes with Bruce Wayne, and also this is a different Bruce Wayne than we've seen before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, we don't get a lot of time with Bruce Wayne, but we don't see the playboy Bruce Wayne. We see the sad, morose, goth, creeping around the halls of Wayne Manor. Bruce Wayne, almost like a ghost, a spirit in the halls, really, when he's Bruce pale. And I like that too, because they made him pale, because he's never out in the sun, because he's always Batman. You know what I mean? He's always Batman at night. You know what I mean? Bruce Wayne doesn't get any sun, at all. Because there is no Bruce Wayne. We have Zoe Kravitz playing Catwoman. I think that this is also a Catwoman that's early in her career.
Yes. In fact,
she's not quite Catwoman.
Yeah, they never called her Catwoman. He said cat burglar, and of course, you got the feline characteristics. She loved cats, as she says. Bruce.
She got a lot of cats. He was like, he made a little. Yeah, he was like, got a lot of cats. She was like,
yeah. So you see it early on, Selena Kyle, not yet Catwoman, and then further on we see young Ozzy, well, not young, but Oswald Cobblepot. Also, he's known as the Penguin already, but he's not the Penguin we know. He's a low-level boss in the Falcone crime family. which just is awesome because I didn't. he is he's a character that you love to hate, and as far in the comics, and then this movie, he came off just like, how should I say it, PG ways. He came, uh
Are you talking about Cobblepot now? You're talking
yeah,
about, right?
Cobblepot,
Penguin?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Came
he
off. Yeah. It's definitely I liked his portrayal. I think the way they're setting up the Penguin, and his character has changed throughout the course of comics. He's not really a clear villain anymore. He's more of that. He's not like pulling off crimes or like the Joker and Riddler are. You know what I mean? He's more of the, still from another comic series, the Kingpin. You know what I mean? He's
yeah,
more of the Kingpin of crime. You know what I mean? And kind of running the show, where he actually will give, people come to him for information. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And that's the course of the Penguin that I think we're going to see. You know, that these films create. You know,
right.
more of the crime boss.
Yeah, and you know, and he did such a good job. Of course, and now they're gonna further his story with the new series that we'll probably talk about later after our review. But
Yep.
as
Colin
far
Farrell did a
oh
fantastic
my
job. I
god,
mean,
that's what I say.
you
As far
couldn't
as
even tell that
Colin
it was
Farrell, he
him.
he's been interviewed already several times, and how he just loved playing, this guy. He even said he loved getting into makeup, into the aesthetic part of it, that to the point where no one recognized him.
Mhm.
So, and
Yeah,
for an actor to just actually just love what he's doing, and not
disappear. Yeah.
bitch and moan about the makeup process. I mean,
Yep.
God,
Because of 5 hours, I think he said it was a
I,
5 hour long
I know.
process.
I
And
mean,
then they shortened it down to about two before it was all said and done, throughout the filming. But yeah, 5 hour process to sit there and to
yeah,
just be, those people should win awards. I do believe we'll see them nominated for Oscars next year
at least.
for this. Yeah, at least for makeup, if not movie, because the movie was fantastic as well. I mean, I loved the movie. I don't even think I've given you my thoughts on it, but
Right.
yeah, it's all. I think we kind of. I know you gave yours. I think it was great. It was good. They focused on the detective side of things, and it was dark. It was very lifted from one of those graphic. I think a lot of people have already. I mean, Long Halloween,
On Halloween.
Cult. Some of those graphic novels have been the ones they've been pointed to, where it was just him against the mafia, basically. The underworld.
Right.
Without a lot of those fantastical people out there. Oh, excuse me. But it was dark. They definitely gave us a different light into this Batman world, a different point of view. I think that I did like the way that the movie started, how it was so cool, man. How the myth of Batman's already there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they see the bat signal, and as soon as they see the bat signal, every little dark corner, wherever they're performing some criminal activity, every dark corner they think he's in.
I
You
love
know
that
what I
whole
mean?
beginning where he
Yeah,
was narrating, the
yeah,
fear in that everyone had about, they're doing something wrong, and then they look into the dark, and they're assuming he's there watching or what. And then,
yep.
and that final, when he finally does come out, just walks out of the dark, and from that
Those steps, boom,
yeah, I wouldn't say
boom.
that Joker gang, but the gang with, with the makeup and stuff.
Which, by the way, had old Tim Drake in there from Titans. I don't know if you
Titans.
recognize him or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who plays Tim Drake in Titans was one of the gang
Yeah.
members, the one who had a
Right.
conscience, who didn't want to be busting people upside the head, I guess. But but that's the beginning scene, the talk over the narration, and they're basically giving us the setting of Gotham and how dark and terrible and dreary and scary and dangerous it
Well,
is.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And why there's that need for Batman. And then it goes from there and takes us into the first appearance of the Riddler, played by Paul Dano. Um, Much different Riddler than we've seen before
Oh yeah.
in any type of iteration, really, animated or live action. What did you think of his performance?
Oh man, that he was dark. Man, I loved how, they incorporated a lot of like the Saw movie, contraptions to
Yeah.
to the Riddler, to the comparisons of the movie Seven, as
Seven. Yeah.
far,
That's what I
yeah.
was going to say.
He was totally dark, and not seeing his face until the end really, really, you know, uh hit hard, because I mean, you knew, you just, you didn't want to put a face to him, is what I'm trying to say, until the end. But I think it would have ruined it, actually, if we had seen Paul Dano early on. But he, again, his was a different take from whatever we saw. I mean, uh what was the last Riddler we had besides Gotham? That was Jim
Jim
Carrey's.
Carrey. Yeah.
I mean, from that camp to this sadistic type, you know, uh portrayal of Riddler was a very welcome difference, and I enjoyed it. Um, but what was I say? His story
I
arc,
think, yeah.
as like his story arc from from beginning to end. I especially love the end. We'll talk about that later. How he was, his thinking, of what uh of why he was doing all this, was just like, it made sense what he was doing. Although
Mhm.
we weren't rooting for the bad guy at the end, I was feeling like, wow, it makes sense what he was doing and what he was thinking. But I wouldn't. I Like you said, you saw this twice already, right? Did you go
Yeah.
in the second time like thinking
Well,
about?
what was cool to me is to really pick up on seeing it the second time and hearing the riddles
Oh,
again, and
yeah,
just being able to pick up all the different clues that were being presented. Obviously, I was cheating because I'd seen it the first time, but it was still cool to be able to say, "Oh," and pick up on these just little things like that I would pick up on that I
right,
really didn't notice before. Just little the way I was sticking with the Riddler, just his little inner his body language in some of the scenes, the rage that he had, which takes me to the first scene. Like I said, which is cool. This movie takes place within a week. It's
right,
a week out of the life of year two of Batman. Starts on Halloween night and ends November 6th, I think, because it was elections November 5th. I think is
right.
when the election. Yeah,
The mayor.
November 6th. Yeah, so it's lasts about a week's time. Um, the first appearance of the Riddler when the mayor's sitting there and he's on the phone and he's watching the debate on the television, and then he moves, and then you see the silhouette of the guy standing
Shadow. Yeah.
behind him,
Wow. Yeah.
and just this little eye movement that he did, Paul Dano did, when he's watching him, just it just he was a creepy, scary character. He really was. I mean, and like I said, the rage that that roar that he let out before he attacked the mayor and just proceeded and cool,
Wailing.
just wailing on him, and then the torture that he would put upon them because they weren't dead. Like I thought
Oh,
the mayor was
no.
dead when he actually got done punch, smashing him in the head. But then later on, when the cops are there and Batman's there and he's sitting there and he's saying the finger was cut off or the thumb was cut off while he was still alive.
Right.
So you know what I mean? He felt that, the torture and probably the taping of
Something
the
that Detective Batman saw that no one else did. You
yeah,
know.
exactly. So we haven't even talked about Commissioner Gordon. Um, Different iteration of Commissioner Gordon that we're a little bit more. I would say definitely better Commissioner Gordons that we had in Batman '66 and in the Tim
Oh,
Burton and Josh Shoemaker uh, Commissioner Gordons, starting
right.
with the ones from the Dark Knight series. Gary, oh my gosh, what is
Gary
his
Oldman.
name?
Gary
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman. Yeah, he was a good commissioner. What did you think of Jeffrey Wright's?
Well, here he's not commissioner yet. He
Oh,
is still
Lieutenant Gordon.
lieutenant.
Yep.
However, he I was talking to my friend who went with me to the movie. He almost felt like Batman's sidekick for a while there, because he was with him and he was bringing him into it. They were sharing, like, like in the comics, they were always sharing information.
Yeah.
But he was actually there, like with him, not solving so much the problem, but going in to certain places with him, and him backing it up. I really loved the chemistry between them, and it showed that, like again in the comics or any iteration, that he trusted
Gordon
Batman. Yeah,
or
Gordon.
Batman. Gordon
Yeah,
just Batman.
he
But
trusted. And
now he
meanwhile, while
uh,
the rest of the PD didn't.
right, but I think throughout this movie they definitely are. He earns a lot of their trust by
Right.
the end of this film. And that was shown to that one cop who kept appearing, who totally hated him when he first showed up at the mayor's place and was talking like, "Why is this guy even here?" You know what I mean, and all this stuff. And but by the end, it was like thought he was,
Yeah, it
a
almost
fan of Batman.
actually gave Batman
Yeah,
at the end that idea of what that
yeah, they
that
were.
thing was.
So
Yeah.
I have to disagree with you a little bit though, and say I didn't think Lieutenant Gordon came off as a sidekick in this film. I would say that the version, Gary Oldman's version, actually came off more as a sidekick, while
Really?
Jeffrey Wright's version came off as more of a partner.
Hmm.
More of an actual equal partner in this, where you know what I mean. They were working the case together.
Okay.
That's my because before it was like he maybe it's because I don't know what it was, but he seemed like they were relying on each other and actually looking to each other for guidance and asking him what he thought about this and that and stuff like that. While Gary Oldman's version was more of the sidekick, not really in the know, kind of following Batman's lead. You know what I mean? That's how I took it. That's how I read it. I read it as different.
Nah.
Now maybe as the relationship continues on throughout the films, maybe he is regulated more to being almost that sidekick because maybe as he becomes more in position of power, Gordon I'm talking about, he can't really be out there in the streets like he is now. You know what I mean? More if he's
True.
regulated to the office or something like that. When he's commissioner, so maybe that's where it comes in. Because usually Gordon's kind of the guy who's left standing there in the dark after he gives Batman some useful information, and then Batman's bounced and made him
Gone.
look like
Yeah.
he does that. And really, he didn't do that. The only time he did that is when he needed to get the hell out of there to go, when Batman had to get the hell out of there to rescue Alfred, who we
Right.
have not discussed either. Let's bring us to Alfred. How did you feel about the tense relationship between Bruce and Alfred in this film? I was
I
kind
mean,
of taken aback by it. I was a little taken aback. There was a little tension, that was there with the
it
conversation with
just
the
it was
topic where
it,
he said when they gave him the Wayne the cufflinks, and he's like, "What about you, Alfred? You a Wayne?" You know what I mean? Kind of like
yeah.
just kind of
Well, yeah, no, that was just showing you that still this was a young Batman, or a young Bruce Wayne, actually still learning the ropes, not really coming to grips of I mean, he's just in his mind, he's just dedicated Batman. He really hadn't put thought into the
Bruce
Bruce
Wayne.
Wayne aspect.
Yeah, but I mean but Bruce even still, no matter what, he's always been consumed by Batman. And you're right to the point of him not defining that Playboy persona. But there's never been that antagonistic relationship that was displayed. Andy Serkis, by the way,
Well,
played
yeah.
Alfred in this. That was no, it was antagonistic. It was like it was that scene where he said, "What about you?" And then he said, "You're not my father, Alfred." You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
just it's a little
Well,
shitty.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah. He came off as like a spoiled brat. But and it wasn't until later what happened to Alfred that it really dawned on him that he did not want to feel the loss of family. He realized how important Alfred is.
Exactly.
And I love the fact that Alfred was just from the get-go helping him, deciphering the clues, detective work, and this and that.
Mhm.
Um, which we've seen Alfred do in other movies. He'll help to an extent, but when
Yeah.
he was just not even, he didn't even ask. Bruce comes up to him at the table like in the morning, and what are you doing? Oh, he's already deciphering, helping decipher the code.
Yeah.
And I love that fact that, I mean, no matter what Bruce was, giving him as far as, any kind of BS, Alfred knew better, and Alfred has always known better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know. It was still just. I will. will say I was taken aback by it because it's never really been displayed like that. I
Right.
mean, it's always been more of like Alfred was a surrogate father. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it always was. So to me, it was just like, whoa, where's all this anger coming? I mean, tension coming from between these guys. What do you think about the performance though? Andy Serkis,
Oh,
he's great. He's
he's
done
great.
Caesar. He's done Caesar in the Planet of the Apes films. He's done a lot of the stop motion stuff. He
He's
also was Gollum.
Gollum.
Yeah, Gollum. And he's also the bad guy or Claw,
Yeah, Ulysses
in
Claw.
the Marvel. Yeah, and he's been in 2 movies in Marvel now, which is Age of Ultron and Black Panther.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I love his acting, no matter what he does, and especially, outside of his motion capture resume of characters. Um, I thought we were going to see him a lot more than we
Yeah.
did, but in hindsight, it wasn't really needed. But I'm sure he's going to be in a bigger capacity as far as character in future movies because you
Mhm.
know aside from Robin being synonymous with Batman, Alfred is synonymous with Batman, with Bruce Wayne. So,
True.
going forward, we should see more of him. But um, I loved his performance. I loved what do you call it? The fact that it took a near death, near him dying almost, to Bruce really realize his importance.
Right.
Maybe grounding or pulling Bruce back down from his I don't know, mentality of just focusing on Batman or whatever or what have you. But um, you know,
I don't know if it's going to pull him back down. I think it'll at least just give him that sense of, okay, I need to treat Alfred a little bit better
a little bit
because I
better.
almost lost him. Yeah, that's where I think it'll go.
You're
You
not my
know,
father.
yeah, there's just a lot of tension between those. I didn't like it. I like it better with Bruce and Alfred being tight. Um, but also, what about the twist with Martha Wayne being Martha Arkham?
Martha
That's
Arkham,
and
yeah.
that's different, right? I mean, that's something
Yeah,
maybe I'm not aware of it of her being
she's
Arkham in the comics.
Kane, Martha Kane.
Right. Yep, because Barbara Kane, not Barbara Kane.
There is an alternate universe where yes, she was, crazy and stuff like that. But it was never,
mm,
she was never an Arkham, or a memory. I'm sorry, a descendant of Arkham.
right, right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a big twist as far as that, and as far as you know saying that she killed her parents and all this stuff. I'm like, wow, that was a very dark twist. um but I mean, I guess a welcome one. I mean, to further the story on why the Riddler was doing what he did. It just started from the back. I mean, the backstory of the oldest families, the Waynes and the Arkhams,
Yeah.
and how the rich have always, covered up,
And
stories.
really gotten over the poor. Because the
Yeah,
premise was, I guess he was an orphan, and he was supposed to have gotten. I guess they had set up
yeah,
that fund for the orphans to all be able to get money and to live better and all of this stuff. And what was it called? It was called the. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna remember what it was called.
reinvention,
Uh,
rebirth,
something like that. Uh,
oh
not
Christ.
recycle. Yeah, but anyway, it was supposed to. It was that, and so what had happened is, all these officials had been taking money and basically just making themselves rich off of that. I almost had it that fund that was out there,
Right.
and so everybody was dipping their hands into it. The mayor, the DA, Falcone,
Falcone
uh,
cops. Yeah,
uh, yeah, or Falcone and Maroney. And I said
Maroney.
Falcone. Sorry, Falcone and
Falcone.
Maroney.
Yeah.
Falcone and Maroney and everybody had been dipping their hands into it, and then he was taking everybody out. And then they had that had been basically, and then they said Falcone, which we haven't talked about yet, but Falcone and then set Maroney up. I'm just kind of giving everybody, the audience here, the kind of plot twist of the movie. Falcone had set everybody up, or set Maroney up, and
Maroney.
that's why he had set Maroney up to take the fall. And everybody was like, "Oh, we got this big drug bust," and made Maroney look like the bad guy at it. But really, they never really had the drug bust. Everybody just kept making money, getting rich, taking from the fund, so forth and so
It
on.
was
And Riddler was
like,
like, "Enough of this! Enough of this! I'm bringing it out into the light." Which brings us to Falcone, John Turturro. He's a great actor. He is. He's a really good actor. I think he gets a bad rap recently because of his comedic roles in the Transformers movies. You know what I
Transform.
mean? And not really a bad rap. Everybody knows that John Turturro is a good actor, but the biggest movies he's been in recently have been arguably Transformers, and his role in that has always been kind of annoying, in my opinion. So it was kind of good to see Turturro back in a good dramatic role, and I think he did a great job as Falcone in this. What did you think of the twist between Falcone and Selena Kyle being his daughter?
Now, I didn't expect that at all, and I don't recall if that is canon as far as different universes, as far as her being his daughter.
Right.
I don't recall that, but when I saw it, I was like, well, it kind of makes sense why she's pissed at him. But then at the same back of my mind, it's like I was trying to go through my library of Batman facts and Batman
Yeah.
knowledge. I was like, wait, is that true? I mean, just like when they announced that Martha was at Arkham, that I was like right off the bat, I was like, okay, that's not right. That's creative license.
Right.
But,
Right.
when you heard that twist, I was like, that makes sense. But then I need to really look back into that. But
Well, hmm,
okay.
I can speak on it briefly. Is that to your with just like you, I was also taken aback, surprised by it because I didn't know if that had been canon or not. Apparently, there has been some novels in the past where some author has put their twist on it to where it was never been proven, but she has always suspected that Falcone was her father. So this actually was lifted from the comics.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Here it seems like it was more definitive in the film that she knows he was her father. In the
Right.
comics has always been there's been no she never had proof. There was never a way to prove it. That's what she suspected. That all clues were leading to him being her father. But so that was surprising. Do you think that we talked about Turturro? I think we fit everybody. I was surprised. Let me go back to this because I wanted to bring this up. The DA that was in the film,
Oh, it's
Peter
Peter
Sarsgaard.
Skarsgård. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when he first was cast. There was part of me that thought he was going to because he was a pretty big actor,
Oh yeah.
pretty big name actor. So I was surprised that his role was somewhat small in this. I really was suspecting that he was going to be Harvey Dent.
True. I mean, he was the DA, but not the DA we all thought. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, his part was rather small. I mean, we got introduced to him in the underground club of the
48
Iceberg
Below or
Lounge.
something.
Yeah, the Iceberg Lounge, and we just see him. He's all messed up, popped up on the what's it called, the drops, or
Yep.
and
Oh,
and then next thing we see him, he's already getting attacked by Riddler, and then that whole scene at the funeral of the mayor, was it? No,
it
the
was a
mayor.
funeral of the mayor.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a
was it
funeral
the
of the
mayor?
mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he came in there with that contraption, the bomb wrapped around his neck, mouth taped shut, and the thing taped around his hands. That
Right.
was, I mean, the Riddler was a terrified dude. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he had everything
you know,
planned. I mean, that was like that whole part was like taken from Saw, the whole contraption, the whole, you have so many seconds to do the Riddler or to answer the riddles, and
I've often said, or at least I've said that. I don't know how often I've said it, but I know I've said in the past where if they dropped Batman into some type of serial killer film that has been out there before, that would be the perfect way to do it. And lo and behold, they did it. I mean, you know what I mean? They really did it. What did you think though? Would you say this is your favorite Batman movie?
you know what? Yes.
Hmm.
I want to say movie. Yes. I mean, deep down inside, my favorite Batman is still Michael Keaton, 89, old school. Sorry. But as far as a movie, yeah, this is definitely the best Batman movie.
Really? Okay.
I
All
think so.
right. I think it was probably the best adaptation of Batman movie also because the other Batman movies they were good. Like even '89 was good. I'll never say Michael Keaton was my favorite Bruce Wayne or Batman. I could never ever say that.
He's coming back times two.
I
He's
know he
coming
is,
back
and
times
that
two.
that's the whole other thing that drives me crazy. I don't want to. We'll just stick to talking about this right now. But yeah, I could go into a whole other can of worms with that. Uh, but definitely the best adaptation. Um, and but I would not say that Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. Like you, my favorite Batman still is Ben Affleck. He just is. He looks like Bruce Wayne to me. I liked his Batman suit. I think the best out of any Batman suit that's out there. His to me in Batman versus Superman is the best one. Also the way he moves, not to get off too far from this
That
movie, but
fight,
I'll say
yeah.
the way Batman moves in the Batman versus the Ben Affleck Batman, the way he moves, and even the scene where the cops first see him, and he's in the corner there, and he scurries across the room. You know what I mean? That to me was the Batman that I'd always wanted to see. You know what I mean? Even when he was fighting Parademon, so that was good. And so now they're going back to this realistic, which is good. It was a good Batman movie, but I just hate they always try to take down all the other fantastical aspects of it. Why don't they just, you know what I mean? And I hope they do explore that as it goes on. Um, what I want to go back and talk about more of the characters though, because we did leave out one pivotal one. What about the unseen prisoner at the end, which we all know was old
Joker.
Joker? Yep, himself. What did you think about that, dude? Were
I
you
love it. Was a wonderful,
surprised?
yeah, it was a wonderful tease. It was,
Yeah.
that character and that actor, I forget what's his
Barry
name.
Keegan, I think it is.
Yes, had been already rumored to be the Joker in some
Yeah.
kind of aspect, and it is verified now that Matt Reeves after the fact has come out and said that yes, that was the Joker. But of course, he was not named the Joker, nor in the credits. It was just Arkham
Unseasoned.
Prisoner, or yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that was a beautiful tease. I mean, we barely got to see him just through that door window, fence window.
It looked like
That
he had jawline
it
was
had
all
a
jacked up.
just freaky. Like at first when he turned, I was like, "Wait, is that Two Face?" Because of that face. But then you're
Right.
like, "Wow, that's Joker." And then when he reiterated or he said something about being the clown and and then when he just starts cackling and laughing, hyena type laugh,
Yeah.
wow, that's the Joker. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've read that before, but there was another scene
Yeah.
that was filmed, and he decided not to put that in because it didn't really help with the story or further the story or whatever. Where
Yeah. There was an
Batman,
interrogation scene
yeah, that
with
Batman was
Batman and
there,
him.
and he struck up a little conversation with the Joker, or the Joker had started with like, "Hey, it's our anniversary or something that's coming up," and to that something to that fact, and the way they handled him as far as that tease, I don't think necessarily will set up a sequel.
Right.
In fact, I hope he does come out in some capacity as part two, but not as the main villain. I would love to see him still behind the scenes, still, till finally just coming out the third movie and getting all the bad guys together to take down the Batman type,
Mhm.
I would rather see him not used in that capacity like we saw Heath Ledger, in
Right.
Dark Knight Rises as the main villain. Not yet, because I mean, again, this is an early Batman story, not an origin story, but maybe an origin story for the villains, like we're
Right.
seeing Catwoman, like we're seeing in Penguin, we did saw in the Riddler. And
Yeah.
even more to wait to introduce other characters, which I'm hoping we see. Well, Scarecrow, you know, or
I mean, he's got the best villains, best Kamala villains out there.
oh yeah,
So maybe who knows how we could see it. And to your point, it would be cool if the Joker maybe had one or two scenes, maybe still in Arkham, uh, in part two, but then part three is where he's the big thing happens, or who knows what they could do. There's so many endless possibilities they have with this
Yeah,
now.
and another thing, I
Um,
love the aspect that again, well, they already have a history, him and Batman. It's not an introduction of the Joker per se, they already have a history.
hmm.
For all we know, Batman put that guy in there, Joker in there.
But they also say that he's not quite the Joker yet either. You know
Not
what I
quite
mean?
Joker
That's what
yet.
they've
Yeah.
said. So maybe, well, who knows? But there's so many ways this could go. Uh, I would say if you had to give this Batman movie a rating between 1 and 10, be going with?
Okay. I might want to say 10 because I am a Gaga Batman fan. But no, I didn't mind that it was 3 hours. It could have been a little bit less.
Right.
So I think only on that aspect, a 9.5 even, but because that really isn't, you know, uh, a lot to it. The movie still with those 3 hours was continuous. It never got boring. It never got, stale.
It, I would just say it didn't get boring either, but I will say this: my son, who liked the movie, he did. Shame on me. I realized that he hadn't quite never really seen. He's seen all the Marvel stuff, and other DC stuff, but I don't think he'd ever seen the Dark Knight from beginning to end. So we rectified that on
Hmm.
Saturday after we saw Batman, and he liked the Batman, but he thinks the Dark Knight is a better movie because it had more. It wasn't as talky. You know what I mean? And there it was, and the Batman it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of dialogue, very few action scenes. I would definitely not describe it as an action adventure. It's more of it's not an action adventure at all, in my opinion.
Oh no,
It
no,
is a crime thriller. You know
right.
what I mean? It's a crime drama, or maybe a crime drama thriller, or whatever. um, but I would give it an 8.5 because of that reason. I didn't think it was boring. I did not. I know some people who actually saw it and thought that it was boring, though. You know what I mean? Um, and some scenes they're like, "Oh, the last hour was the best," because that's when it got more of the action, the feel to it. You know what I mean? They
Right.
were like, "Oh, that," and there were a couple like you. I would say you could shorten it at scenes, but then I'm like, I've said that, like, man, it could have been 15, 20 minutes shorter. But then I'm hard pressed to find what would have been cut. What could they have shortened that would have been made it slightly better to me?
Yeah.
And I can't think of one. I can't think of one. But I will say I would give it an 8.5 though.
Right.
That is what I'm gonna give it an 8.5, maybe even closer to a 9. But there was a lot of it didn't drag, but I could see why some people could say it was a little slow paced even at points. You know, and I didn't like that him and Bruce and Alfred were antagonistic, so I have to shave some.
Right. Yeah.
No, there was a lot to love about the movie. I loved Commissioner Gordon's portrayal. I thought it was one of the best. Penguin was great, as we said. The Riddler was awesome. I would like to see, maybe he doesn't need to be all, you know, uh, Jim Carrey is
Oh
next
yeah.
time, but I want to see him get closer to the Riddler that we know. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, um, at least in appearance. And I do think we'll see Catwoman back. Do you think that she warrants a appearance in the sequel, or I think she warrants more of a spinoff? To be honest with you, and see her kind of continue on. How would you like to see? Would you like to see her story continue in the sequel, or do you want to see her story continue in Catwoman? Maybe a show on.
Uh Honestly, I'd rather see her in the movie. I tried to read the Catwoman comics by themselves after she left Bruce, after the whole she left him at the altar. They didn't get married type thing. She left. I tried to get into her comics when she was by herself. I didn't like it. I
Okay.
think she needs to be with Bruce.
Right,
Oh my
right.
god. Or in Batman, she's got to be right now. She's finding herself. She's going to be that cat burglar we all know. She's not truly a good guy yet. Like, in the comics now, she's a dedicated ally of Batman
Yep.
and the Bat family. But yeah, I'd like to see her come back. If maybe I wouldn't say, maybe part 3 where there's like all the villains will be out and he needs more help, because
Right.
I don't think we're gonna get a Robin. If we do, he'd probably die. They kill him off. I don't know.
No,
I don't think they're gonna
I
use a Robin or Nightwing. There's no way. Not Nightwing.
well, I mean, they can't jump into that. Now,
No.
what I would like to see, though, to be honest, what I would like to see happen if they did bring Robin into the mix. Now that you brought this up, I think a good way to do it was almost do like we've done with the Batman, where we don't come see, we come into the story and we see Batman and Robin taking somebody down. All right. And then we get to know Robin throughout that story. Maybe there's a flashback, even a 15-minute flashback that kind of shows, or throughout the film, that shows how he became Robin. You know what I mean? But it would be cool, better to me, like, you know what I mean? It would be better to me, I think, if they took that approach to it and just kind of jumped in with Batman and
Yeah,
Robin, as
with
opposed to seeing him taking
no
in the boy
origin
and
story.
then
Yeah.
training the boy. Yeah, with no origin story, but the origin story is told through flashbacks. You know what I mean? Or different things like that throughout the film.
Yeah, because
That to me would be
yeah,
the best
no,
way to bring Robin
I
when he's already
understand.
Robin.
That'd be kind of cool, because technically, if you're a Batman fan, and like they did with this one, they didn't show the origin because you already know the origin. They do
Exactly.
the same thing with Robin, because you already know, Flying Grayson's killed, all that stuff in there,
Yeah.
became his ward. You know that. So yeah, it'd be a good way to bring him into the fold. Now, would we
As opposed to
want?
seeing this little boy getting trained and stuff like that. I don't
Right.
need, you know what I mean? We don't need to see all that stuff.
Yeah,
But anyway,
and
go.
it was cool that in this movie you saw that little boy. He like connected with that little
The
boy.
mayor's son. The
Yeah,
mayor's son.
he came out like 3 different times, and he helped them all.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
He did. He saw him at his father's death or murder scene.
Murder
He
scene,
saw him he saved him at the
the
funeral.
funeral,
And then
and
at
then
the very end, he
at
pulled him
the
out the
end.
water. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if they're gonna take creative license, they're gonna make that kid Robin.
No, I don't want them to do that. I don't. That I do not want. I want them to do if they're going to do it, they do Dick Grayson, and then show us. But I think that's the best way to do it, though, is to bring him in 2 years into being Robin, which means he's been Batman maybe 5 years or so. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
we kind of learn throughout how this kid became
Well,
Robin.
they had already talked to Pattinson, I think, several interviews on what direction he'd want to see part 2, and one of them was directions was Death in the Family.
Yeah,
But
but see,
Death in
that's
the
the best way.
Family is
Yeah,
Jason Todd. That's way
right.
before, right after Dick Grayson. You
Mm-hmm.
have to give Dick Grayson his due. We need Robin as
Yeah,
far story wise with Dick Grayson.
I agree. I agree 100%. Now, yeah, build this Batman family up through here. That'd be good. Now, you brought up spinoffs earlier. As we bring this to a close, there were two spinoffs announced. One following the story of Oswald Cobblepot
Right.
becoming Penguin. That one is still on.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had announced the GCPD one.
And that one
Has been canceled
in
as
lieu
of
of,
now.
yeah.
Which I think was a good idea because they've already told the story of Gotham. I mean, yes, it would have been different because this is following this Batman and stuff like that. But honestly, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I mean,
I like the premise. They did do a whole comic book series on the GCPD, but they're not going to be. There's not going to be. They're not going to be chasing all the Batman villains. They're just going to be doing just the thugs and the crime and around the street. There's not going to be real intervention with Batman. If we do see Gordon, if he came out in any capacity, it would be small.
and it would be a prequel too.
Yeah, well, yeah,
to the Batman we just saw.
So
it's just
now that
it's like
they've canceled it and they've announced that they're going to do a show based on Arkham Asylum.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Really? Yeah, they canceled that. The new spin-off show is going to be based on Arkham Asylum.
Oh, that's news to me. I had no clue.
They just actually announced it yesterday or the day before.
L.T. bringing the scoop. That's right. Yeah. You heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first.
Yeah, well, please. I hope I'm right. I hope I read right.
If you didn't read that article, yeah.
They did cancel the GCPD, and then they're going to focus on Arkham Asylum. whether it's going to be an origin type story or dealing with the inmates in Arkham right now. We don't know. It's still up in the air, but it is it will be taking the place of the GCPD canceled
Interesting.
show.
Okay.
So
Well, that's cool to know. It should be interesting to see what happens there then.
yeah,
For
which
sure.
is
Maybe we'll get introduced to Dr. Harley and Quinzel.
yeah, you can get Hugo Strange, he was a doctor there. You get
Yeah.
all kinds of inmates. You can go with Victor Zaz, yeah, inmates, Calendar Man, just everyone that's gone into Arkham,
Mhm.
It's a way to introduce a lot more characters of Batman's rogues.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but there's no date announced to that, and I mean, I don't think there's a date for Penguin either, right? As far as
No, I don't think so.
right, but I mean, hopefully we'll see those two in some capacity before the Batman 2. It'd be great to especially Penguin wise, to see his story arc continue from here, where he's, Falcone's dead. He's now taken over as head boss. I would love to see him build up his criminal empire to the point where he is a big wig in the Batman, a bigger force to reckon with, or in the sequel. That's if we even see Penguin, that is, but I'm sure we would, because you know,
He's gonna be there. Yeah.
yeah, he'll still be there
He'll
as
be
far
down there in the underworld.
yeah, they didn't kill him off like in Batman Returns. In fact,
I don't think
I
they're gonna
love
kill
the
off any of
fact that
these villains. They
yeah,
lock
that
them up in
these
Arkham.
these villains didn't die, or no one died. They've been put away, like in the comics. They're being put away. And in
Right.
this Batman, we didn't see Batman kill anybody.
Mhm.
Unlike all, even Batman 89 and
Oh yeah, he was putting bombs on people and
yeah, and
dynamite and not.
you're like, oh, he doesn't kill people. No, he kills people. In
Yeah.
that, inadvertently, he doesn't go and like kill him. He like put a bomb, like, or in Batman versus Superman, he you know shot at a car, it blew up. They're dead. He killed them.
Yeah. Yep.
Here you did he just incapacitated people. At the end, he put Riddler in Arkham Asylum. They arrested him. He didn't get killed. Although like in the Jim Carrey version, he went into Arkham too, but we saw Harvey Dent die. We saw Penguin die.
Right.
We saw Joker die in all those movies. So I love the aspect that he didn't kill, and none of the bad guys died. As far as the main rogues.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but
No, it's definitely set up a nice little world for this Batman to continue on in. I mean, the cool thing is Robert Pattinson is young enough to be able to continue to play in this role for a while now. What I do hope is we don't get a long 4-year break between sequels, which I feel like we're probably going to get though. For some reason, I feel like it's
well, it
going to
was
be a
promised that part
lengthy
two would,
time.
yeah, would be within 5 years, but I mean,
I mean, that's a long time to wait, dude.
that's too
In my
long.
opinion, I know. I mean, I thought we were
2 years.
five
Come on, at
years. I
least
know
2 years.
2 years. Yeah, now we're talking. I could get down with that. But 5 years is insane. But
Yeah,
anyway, we'll see what happens.
especially if they're gonna make this a bona fide trilogy, like the Nolan verse.
Yeah.
That 5 years is ridiculous. But even
No,
though I think Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises was 4 years, wasn't it?
that was a
Five
4 or
years?
5 between those guys. I know part 1 and 2 was like a 2-year time frame.
Yeah.
Batman Begins and Dark Knight are two within 3 years
And
even.
there was no silly pandemic, no war going on. It was just 5 years.
Yeah, I know. I know. So hopefully it's not that long. But guys, I mean, we both enjoyed the film. I think obviously we're excited to see where it goes, and to see what villains we have next, to see what Matt Reeves does. We didn't even mention Matt Reeves. His direction was fantastic. I think
We
he did
didn't
a great job.
we
Yeah, we didn't mention
we didn't
him.
mention the Batmobile.
Oh, the Batmobile! Oh my gosh, yeah, dude, that
Holy
was an incredible scene.
Christ. When we were introduced to him the first time, the Batmobile, that
Dude, the rumbling.
oh my God, it was
It was,
growling. You
yeah,
felt the theater just what? And then
yeah.
just him revving and revving and revving. And and then the lights and oh wow.
It
That
was
was an exciting exciting version of the Batmobile.
Is that your favorite Batmobile now?
Eh. All
After
right.
all that,
I'm showing my age. I'm going with the 66 Batmobile.
that's your favorite. Okay.
I have so many different versions of the 66 Batmobile. I mean, Hot Wheels,
That I
different
could get.
sizes.
Yeah.
I don't like the Tumbler. The new Batman versus Superman was okay, but even
I like
the
that one.
uh what do you call it?
Batman 89.
Yeah, 89. I love that one, but that's probably my second one. But this one really just, oh my god, it was just like, it was a fun Hot Wheels type muscle car that it was supposed to, it was depicted as Bruce Wayne actually building that car. It was like it
Right,
wasn't,
right.
he wasn't using tech or anything. It was just him on his spare time or in the back, whatever, using, he was building it. And that, like I said, the first time we saw it was in the alley, just with the lights on, the revving, and it was exciting, especially that whole, chase and up to the scene which was part of the preview, where it was jumping out of the flames
Oh
and
yeah.
shooting Penguin. That was exciting, man.
It was very cool. I cannot deny it. It was awesome stuff, man. The Batmobile was tight. I think I would probably go with I think the 66 Batmobile was it does hold a place in my heart because that's the Batmobile that I knew when I was, first new. I would say I would probably say the Tumbler's probably my last one also. And I'm gonna go with the Batman versus Superman Batmobile,
Okay.
followed by the 66 version.
Right.
Then I would go with this one.
Yeah. Yeah. This one. I mean, this
No,
this
I would
one.
go with this one. I'm going. No, Batman versus Superman, Batman 89, then this one, then the 66.
Nope.
No. I'm just joking. I'm good.
No, no, I understand. I mean, I've always been fond of the 66 version. So, um,
66 version is tight.
yeah.
It is good. It is cool. You know what I mean? Like I said, that was the Batmobile that I knew when I first started reading. My uncle had all those old comics and stuff like that too. So that was kind of patterned after that. The show was patterned after that Batmobile, and it was cool to see it in live action. You know what I mean, and all that stuff when I was a kid. So it does a whole special place. It
Right.
does. And where I live, there's a guy who within a 5 mile radius of me that has that Batmobile and the Batman 89 Batmobile, and you can see him cruising through the area every now and then.
Now, I've
Yeah, he's got
personally been in one of the 66 replicas that was officially not used in the show, but Burt Ward and Adam West were
Adam
in.
West.
Yeah, but I've actually gotten to sit in that seat with it. I've got pictures, on my Instagram and so forth. But yeah, but not, like I said, that
That's cool.
this Batman, version can only get better. In fact, it got pretty banged up. He went through a lot of stuff. He got hit,
Yeah,
so it's only going to get better. As far as it getting souped up.
it's true. I have to ask before we tune off though, or wind the show down. Do you think we need a Bruce Wayne Playboy version? Do you think they need to incorporate that, or do you actually? Like I said, I like this movie a lot, also because he was Batman the majority of the time, and I think that's where some superheroes have that fault. Some superhero movies have that fault where they have to show him out of the character out of costume quite a bit. You
Right.
know what I mean? Which in the comics, they're not really out of costume that very much. You know what I mean? Yeah, they have the secret identity or whatever, but they're usually the comics have them being the hero. And that's what I liked about this movie is that he was the hero 90% of the time. That being said, when he is Bruce Wayne, do you think we do need a Playboy Bruce Wayne? Or are you cool with it the way it is?
If it would help the story, yes, but no. I love the fact that we didn't see Bruce Wayne, billionaire, whatever, philanthropist type, playboy, whatever. I was fine not seeing that. He was,
Yeah.
when we did see him at the funeral, he was still just very broody and very just, emo about everything. But
Yeah.
and I'm fine with that. I don't need to see the rest of Bruce Wayne. I came to see a Batman movie. The movie's called The Batman, not the Bruce
I
Wayne.
agree.
So
Yes, Bruce Wayne.
the
Yeah,
Bruce Wayne.
no, and I agree. I did like the fact. I mean, yeah, if the story calls for it, I think it would be cool to see. I think the cool thing about that is to show the discrepancy or the line that where he is really Batman. He's Bruce Wayne is the character that he portrays in order to get the life. So to see the difference,
Right.
you know, to
No, I was gonna
the
say
contrast between the two, it would be kind of cool to see, you know, him going from that to the morose Batman. Um, that would be cool if the story it called for it. Yeah.
I would love to see Bruce Wayne interact with Selena Kyle in that aspect.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
rather
they had
than
no scenes actually
yeah,
as Bruce Wayne.
no scene. So I would like to
No.
see that. Maybe a reveal of sorts, but like maybe movie 3, what have
Right.
but I would like to see that them interact.
I've got a couple more things to say before we wind down.
Do it.
I was so happy to see that the Riddler. I was really like, oh, "Are you serious?" When he was like Bruce
Oh,
Wayne, you know, I
I
was
love
so
that
like, oh,
ending.
I was like, are they going to really let us know that he knows that he's Bruce Wayne? And
I
that was going to
love
piss me off because
yeah,
I hate that somebody
because
always finds out who he is. You know what I mean in the movies, but come to find out he didn't know, and I was so
no,
relieved. I was so relieved when he
I
didn't know.
love that part. I mean, he was, and he's just Batman was in the back in the dark, just like
Yeah.
waiting for them to finally just come out and say, "I know who you are." And then
Yep.
when he said something like, "Oh, we didn't get him," that's
I
when
was
Batman
relieved.
just clicked
Yep.
and then came into the light. And that's when we saw the Riddler's true plan. The Riddler's his thinking. He was thinking
Yeah.
him and Batman were working together. It's some kind of tandem to get rid of all these people. He was like, I'm setting them up, and then that's how we got rid of Falcone, whatever.
Right.
But we missed Bruce Wayne. You know,
Yeah.
I love
Um,
that fact that
it was cool.
that
Yeah, I was very happy to see that he was not because I
that he
really
didn't
thought they
know
were
that
leading
he
us to
didn't
that.
know that he was
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne, because that would have just screwed up the rest of everything. Like,
It would have.
you know,
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I was happy they kept it under wraps. And I also would be remiss to not mention that I love the two shout outs to the Batman 66 show. It was the Shakespeare head that was sitting in Bruce Wayne, or when Alfred was opening of the mail.
Yeah.
They showed the Shakespeare head sitting there, and then they also had the phone under the glass.
So under the glass, yes.
I
Ah,
think it was. I think maybe I'm making that part up. Maybe it wasn't under glass, but it was that. It was really reminiscent of the bat phone. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That they
the
would
red
pick up,
the red one from the 66.
and then the Shakespeare head that they would flip over to turn the
Go
bat
down the
poles.
the poles, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that was cool. I liked that too, man. Also, I mean, they did incorporate a lot of cool stuff like that. But man, yeah, I think we're both very excited about it, guys. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. LT, I think we said it all, man. I think we covered it all, my friend. Are we missing anything?
Ah, I absolutely love this movie, and I was just clamoring about it. Anyone who would listen to me, this whole weekend, who saw the movie, I'm like, oh my god, did you see this? Oh my god, did you see that? I was really geeking out, and
Yeah.
I was just really just happy that we finally got to see this after 2 years of, they had to postpone it after
Yep.
getting that little teaser we saw back in 2020
Yeah.
at the fandom, which was basically the first, like, a minute of what we actually saw,
Yep.
the whole first scene of Riddler's victim, and then to
Hmm.
see the final 3-hour cut. Oh my god, you
It was
know
good.
it was good. And I'm hoping we get to see these cut scenes in some fashion.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves already said that there is no director's cut, that he was happy that Warner Brothers let him do what he wanted, and that this is the version that he wanted out. So
True. True.
I'm hoping if any other scenes are out, I hope that comes out and comes some kind of special edition
Hmm.
online, what have you, because I would love to see that scene with the Joker.
Yeah,
So, but I
I
mean,
agree.
I
No, it was.
love this movie, and I'm jealous that you've seen it twice and that I haven't. I am gonna go see it again, most definitely. I'll know what scene I can run to the bathroom and pee, because that last hour I was holding my pee. I was like, oh, I don't want to miss anything.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, dude. Nah, but yeah, we give it a big thumbs up. Like we said, guys, check it out.
Yeah.
When you see it, let us know what you think, and comment as always. Let us know what you want. If you're enjoying the show, let us know what your thoughts are about the show. We're just excited you're watching. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Then.
Yeah, man. We'll be back, most definitely with future Batman. I'm not Batman. DC movies. We've got how many this year alone? Four more to go.
We've got three. Well, really four if you count the one on Batgirl on HBO Max. But we've got Black Adam, which is up next, followed by the Flash in November, Aquaman in December, also Batgirl in December.
Oh, so Batgirl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Which is Christmas theme for Batgirl, so it's being filmed right now. Yeah, so it's going to be good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely see us before those shows, but as far as
100%,
main
100%.
movie reviews dedicated to one movie, yeah, those are on our to-do list.
Oh, 100%, my friends. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us. LT, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Yes,
Have a good
sir,
week.
man. It was fun.
Yep. Have a good week, everyone. Take care.
Bye.